Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a particularly fascinating and honestly quite unsettling corner of power dynamics.
Uh-huh.
Our focus is Law 26 from the 48 Laws of Power. Keep your hands clean.
The big one.
Definitely. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack how powerful figures throughout history have, well, masterfully managed their public image.
Right, by using others.
Exactly, by cleverly using others, sometimes willingly, sometimes unwittingly, to take the blame for missteps or to carry out the unpleasant, dangerous, even brutal work.
And you'll discover that the insights we uncover aren't just, historical footnotes. They reveal timeless and often uncomfortable truths about human nature and how power really operates.
Mm.
We'll explore how these strategies manifest in surprising ways, not just in ancient courts, but, well, in our modern world too. It's about learning to see beyond the surface of events.
So let's get into it. We're starting with the strategic scapegoat, the art of concealing your mistakes.
Making sure they stick to someone else.
Right. Making sure they're always attributed to someone else. The core idea here is simple. Your reputation often hinges more on what you conceal than on what you reveal.
That's key. Everyone messes up.
Everyone makes errors, but the truly adept manage to hide them, ensuring someone else takes the fall.
Okay, so where do we start with example?
For a chilling illustration of this, let's journey back to ancient China, to the formidable general de Cao Cao.
Ah, yes, a classic.
Towards the end of the 2nd century AD, his Han Empire was crumbling, and Cao Cao, a powerful imperial minister, was in the midst of a campaign to seize control.
Right, a chaotic time.
Very. And during a crucial siege, he slightly miscalculated the grain supplies. Just a bit, but enough.
Oops. Not good for morale.
Not at all. The army started running low, and he was forced to order reduced rations. His informers quickly reported widespread grumbling among the soldiers, whispers that Cao Cao was living lavishly while they starved.
That's dangerous. Sounds like mutiny territory.
The fear of mutiny loomed large. So Cao Cao summoned his chief of commissariat and, with an unmoving calm, told him, "I want to ask you to lend me something, and you must not refuse."
Oh, boy. You know this isn't going to end well.
The terrified chief asked what it was. Cao Cao replied, "I want the loan of your head to show to the troops."
Wow. Just blunt.
Completely. The chief, understandably, pleaded his innocence, but it was in vain. He was beheaded that very day.
Instant scapegoat.
Instant scapegoat. When the soldiers saw his head on public display, the grumbling stopped. While a few may have seen through the ploy, most accepted Cao Cao's version of events,
Easier to believe, maybe. Or safer.
choosing to believe in his unwavering wisdom rather than question his competence.
What's truly striking about Cao Cao's decision is the sheer ruthlessness and clarity of his thinking.
Yeah.
He faced a critical choice. Attempt an apology, or make excuses, or instantly cut off the problem with a scapegoat. He chose the latter without hesitation.
No looking back.
Apologies, you see, often backfire. They open the door to lingering doubts about your competence and intentions. They rarely satisfy anyone, really.
True.
And the original mistake doesn't vanish. It often just deepens in public perception. But a swift, decisive scapegoat instantly eliminates the immediate crisis and redirects attention.
Lets the leader look strong again.
It solidifies their authority. Cao himself famously articulated this brutal pragmatism, saying, "Would rather betray the whole world than let the world betray me."
Chilling.
This incident perfectly encapsulates that mindset.
It certainly does. That story really brings home the arbitrary nature of blame in power plays, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It reminds me of the absurd Chelm justice tale, the Jewish folk story.
What of the cobbler?
Yes. In the town of Chelm, when their only cobbler murdered a customer, the townspeople cried out, "If we hang him, who will mend our shoes?"
Practical problem, I guess.
So the judge, after careful consideration, decided that since there were 2 roofers in town, one of them should be hanged instead.
You're kidding. That's, wow, convenience over justice.
Talk about convenience triumphing over, well, everything else.
Okay, so that's a reactive scapegoat, maybe even a bit absurd.
Right. But scapegoating can also be a far more calculated, even premeditated strategy, not just reacting to a crisis.
Like setting someone up to fail.
Exactly. Let's look at Cesar Borgia, a master of this particular game.
Ah, Machiavelli's favorite example.
The very same. In 1500, he took control of Romagna, a region in northern Italy that had descended into utter lawlessness, chaos everywhere.
Needed sorting out.
Definitely. To establish order, Cesar appointed a lieutenant general named Ramiro de Orio, a man described as cruel and vigorous, granting him absolute powers.
Okay, so he knows what kind of guy he's picking.
Oh, absolutely. De Orio brutally and efficiently brought order, but as a result, the local population quickly grew to resent and hate him for his zeal. He became feared but hated.
Predictable, given the methods.
Very predictable. In December 1502, Cesar made his calculated move. He first let it be known that he hadn't approved of de Orio's harsh deeds, subtly blaming them on the lieutenant's inherent brutality.
Distancing himself. Classic.
Then, on December 22nd, he imprisoned de Orio. Just a few days later, on Christmas Day, the townspeople awoke to a horrifying spectacle in the piazza, de Orio's headless body.
Oh, publicly displayed.
Lavishly dressed, with his head impaled on a pike beside it. As Niccolo Machiavelli, his contemporary, observed, the ferocity of this scene left the people at once stunned and satisfied.
Stunned and satisfied. What a combination.
Right.
So this brings us to a crucial distinction. The difference between a reactive scapegoat, like Salvador's innocent supply chief, and Cesar Borgia's premeditated use of an offensive weapon. Cesar planned this entire scenario from the outset.
Knew what de Orio would have to do.
He understood that only brutal justice would restore order, but he also knew he couldn't be seen as the direct agent of that justice himself.
Because the hatred would turn on him eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would eventually undermine his authority. So he leveraged de Orio to do the dirty work, knowing full well that de Orio would become the public sacrifice.
Wow.
Cesar not only achieved his immediate goal-bringing order without dirtying his own hands, but he also solidified his image as the benevolent ruler who cleaned up the mess.
Well, he looks like the good guy coming in to fix the bad guy's mess.
Precisely. This demonstrates that a strategic hatchet man is about more than just shifting blame in a crisis. It's about a long-term strategy for achieving unpopular but necessary goals while maintaining a spotless public image.
It's incredible how that dynamic plays out. And this practice is incredibly old, isn't it? Deeply ingrained.
Oh, absolutely. Across cultures.
The Athenians, for instance, would actually maintain these degraded and useless beings at public expense.
Right, the pharmakoi.
If calamity struck, famine, plague, whatever these individuals will be led about, and then ritually sacrificed outside the city, like literally carrying away the city's trouble.
And of course, the term scapegoat itself.
Comes from the ancient Hebrews, right?
Exactly. They'd symbolically transfer the sins of the children of Israel onto a live goat, then release it into the wilderness. Poof! Sins vanished with the goat.
Wow.
It speaks to an extremely human psychological need. The tendency to look outward for blame after a mistake or misfortune rather than inward.
Yeah, nobody likes to admit they messed up.
Think of the tragic figure of Oedipus, frantically searching everywhere for the cause of the plague in Thebes. Everywhere, that is, except within himself and his own unwitting sins.
Looking under every rock but his own.
This profound need to exteriorize one's guilt, to project it onto another person or object, holds immense power. Clever individuals understand this deeply ingrained impulse and know how to harness it.
Because it feels natural to us.
Because it comes so naturally for us to seek an external culprit, we often readily accept the scapegoat's supposed guilt, even when evidence is lacking.
Makes sense.
And the practice absolutely lives on today. I mean, how many modern leaders truly take responsibility for major blunders? Far more often, they expertly search for others to blame.
Exactly. Like when Mao Zedong's ambitious cultural revolution spiraled into chaos and failed miserably.
He needed someone to blame.
Swiftly offered up scapegoats, including his personal secretary, Chen Pota, and even Franklin D. Roosevelt, despite his public reputation for honesty and integrity.
He had his guy, too.
Used his longtime secretary, Louis Howe, for 2 decades to play this de Orio role. Howe handled all the unpleasant backroom deals and press manipulation.
The dirty work.
Ensuring that FDR himself always appeared fair-minded and above the fray.
Keeps the president's hands clean.
A scapegoat can also serve a more chilling purpose, though, as a powerful warning.
Yes, like Richelieu.
Take Cardinal Richelieu, exactly. In 1631, he narrowly survived the Day of the Dupes, a plot to oust him. One of the key conspirators was Marillac, the keeper of the seals.
Okay.
Richelieu couldn't directly imprison Marillac without dangerously implicating the Queen Mother. Bit tricky.
Politics.
So instead, he targeted Marillac's brother, an army marshal who had zero involvement in the plot whatsoever.
Oh, wow. Guilt by association, basically. Yeah. Or not even association.
Pretty much. Richelieu had him executed on trumped-up charges to set a brutal example, especially for other potential conspirators in the army.
Sending a message.
This way, he indirectly punished the real perpetrator and sent a stark warning that he would not shrink from sacrificing even the innocent to protect his own power.
So when leaders choose a scapegoat, there are distinct tactical considerations. It's not always straightforward.
Right.
Sometimes an innocent, weaker victim is chosen precisely because they won't fight back powerfully.
He's your target.
And their naive protests can even be cleverly spun as signs of guilt. But here, the manipulator must be cautious not to create a martyr.
Yeah, that could backfire.
The goal is to remain the perceived victim, the poor leader betrayed by incompetence or malice. Other times, a more powerful scapegoat might be chosen, someone who inherently elicits less public sympathy in the long run.
Depends on the situation.
The choice depends on the specific circumstances and the desired public reaction.
And history provides countless examples of what's often called the fall of the favorite, using a close associate as a scapegoat.
The one closest to the throne falls hardest.
Exactly. Many powerful rulers had a personal favorite who received immense favors and power. But this favorite could be conveniently sacrificed if the ruler's reputation was threatened.
And the public buys it.
The public would readily believe the favorite was guilty. I mean, why else would the king sacrifice someone so close? It sends a clear warning to others, and hey, a new favorite can always be found to take their place.
Ruthless efficiency.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the second major facet of Law 26, the cat's paw.
Ah, the monkey and the cat.
Exactly. This concept comes from the classic fable. The monkey, wanting chestnuts from a burning fire, cunningly uses the cat's paw to retrieve them, getting the delicious nuts without a singe.
So the cat gets burned, the monkey gets the reward.
Precisely. The principle is simple. If something unpleasant, risky, or unpopular needs doing, it's far too dangerous to do it yourself. You need a cat's paw, someone else who performs the dirty, dangerous, or discomforting work for you.
Ensuring you stay clean.
Ensuring that people don't even notice you are responsible. You deliver only joy and glad tidings. Someone else is the executioner or the bearer of bad news.
Clever. Who's a good example of this?
Our first compelling story here is Cleopatra, a true master of subtle manipulation.
Okay, Cleopatra. Intriguing.
At a mere 10 years old in 59 BC, she witnessed the violent overthrow of her father, Ptolemy XII, by her own sister Berenice.
That's rough for a kid.
She then saw Berenice imprison and murder other siblings and even her own husband to secure her rule. But Berenice's overt ruthlessness horrified her subjects and ignited powerful opposition.
So being openly brutal didn't work out for Berenice.
Not in the long run. 4 years later, Ptolemy returned and Berenice was beheaded. Cleopatra learned a crucial, indelible lesson. A queen openly seen murdering her own family would never be truly served.
Appearances matter.
A lot.
When she ascended to the throne alongside her brother, Ptolemy XIII, a power struggle inevitably ensued. You know how that goes.
Sibling rivalry, royal edition.
In 48 BC, Ptolemy forced her to flee. But Cleopatra, determined to rule alone and restore Egypt's glory, seized her chance when Julius Caesar arrived, intending to make Egypt a Roman colony.
The famous carpet incident.
Famously had herself smuggled to him wrapped in a carpet. Once with Caesar, she masterfully used her charm and intellect, subtly guiding him to eliminate her rival siblings.
Guiding him. Or manipulating him.
Well, that's the art, isn't it? Caesar subsequently defeated and killed Ptolemy XIII in battle. He also executed many of Cleopatra's other enemies.
Convenient for her.
Very. Her youngest brother, Ptolemy XIV, the weakest of the lot, mysteriously died of poison 4 years later, a death largely attributed to Cleopatra's ambition.
Mysterious deaths often follow powerful people.
And she repeated this tactic with Mark Antony in 41 BC, subtly convincing him that her sister Arsinoe, still a prisoner in Rome, had conspired against him.
Planting the idea. Antony, convinced by Cleopatra's carefully crafted narrative, promptly had Arsinoe executed, removing the last direct sibling threat.
Wow. She got Caesar and Antony to do her dirty work.
Pretty much.
What's truly ingenious about Cleopatra's approach is that her power wasn't solely derived from her legendary charm, though that helped, obviously.
Right.
It was from her unparalleled ability to get powerful men like Caesar and Antony to execute her will without them ever fully realizing they were being manipulated.
They thought it was their idea, or at least in their interest.
Exactly. They were her cat's paws, stepping into the fire for her and carrying out the ugly but necessary work. This shielded her from the direct perception of being a ruthless destroyer of her own family and fellow Egyptians.
So her hands stayed clean.
She maintained an image of being above the dirty work, operating with such subtlety that her hands remained clean even as her rivals disappeared. Her genius lay in weaving her desires into the existing ambitions and fears of those powerful men, making their actions serve her agenda.
That's incredibly skillful. We see similar dynamics of indirect action in other anecdotes too, right? Shows its timeless appeal.
Like the fables.
Consider the crow and the snake from the ancient Indian collection of fables, the Panchatantra. A crow, whose chicks were repeatedly eaten by a snake, sought advice from a wise jackal.
Okay.
The crow's wife then snatched a golden chain from some bathing royal women and, as planned, dropped it directly into the snake's hole.
Setting the snake up.
Totally. When the king's men came searching for the chain, they found the cobra and promptly killed it. Problem solved for the crow.
Without the crow doing anything dangerous. Clever.
Or think of Omar, a prominent figure in early Islam who wanted the news of his conversion to spread quickly. He went to Jamil, a notorious gossip,
Uh-oh. Perfect choice.
and told him, "I have become a Muslim. Do not say anything. Keep it dark."
Reverse psychology.
Of course, Jamil immediately went into the street shouting, "Do you believe that Omar has not become a Muslim?" "Well, do not believe that. I am telling you that he has."
Ah, perfect. Mission accomplished.
Precisely as Omar intended.
That's using someone's known tendencies against them, or rather for them.
And Mao Zedong, whom we discussed earlier as a master of scapegoating.
He used cat's paws, too.
Oh, yeah. Brilliantly. Not just for dirty work, but to save an enormous amount of his own energy and effort. In the late 1920s, civil war raged in China between nationalists and communists.
Chiang Kai-shek versus Mao.
Chiang nearly wiped out Mao's communists, forcing them into the epic Long March. Things looked bad for Mao.
Desperate times.
In late 1936, Chiang was planning a final, decisive offensive against Mao when, unexpectedly, his own soldiers captured him and handed him over to the communists.
Wow. Talk about a twist. Chiang must have thought he was done for.
Absolutely, he naturally expected the worst.
But here's where Mao's foresight truly shines. Instead of executing Chiang, which must have been tempting,
Extremely tempting.
Mao proposed a deal. The communists would release him and unite with the nationalists against the invading Japanese.
Whoa. Chiang must have been stunned.
Chiang couldn't believe his luck, thinking the Reds had gone soft and that he could easily defeat the Japanese and then turn around to destroy the communists later.
Underestimating Mao.
Massively. What Mao understood was strategic brilliance. He effectively used two cat's paws. First, Chiang's nationalists would bear the brunt of the Japanese attack,
Saving the communists.
saving the communists decades of their own effort and resources. Second, the Japanese themselves would decimate Chiang's conventional forces.
So his enemies fight each other.
This highlights how truly powerful figures planned several moves ahead, even accepting what appear to be temporary setbacks for immense long-term gains. Mao won without fighting the main battles himself, letting his enemies wear each other down.
That's incredible strategic thinking. It brings to mind another, maybe more subtle ruse. Kuryamadaizen.
Ah, the story with the painting and the vase.
Yes. His friend, Hoshino Soman, had borrowed a large sum of money for a relative and was now deeply in debt himself. But Soman was a proud man.
Too proud for a handout.
Exactly. Too proud to accept direct financial help. So Daisen visited his friend and showered praise on a Kano Tenyu painting in Soman's home, professing how much he loved it.
Laying the groundwork.
Soman, pressured by the effusive praise, insisted Daisen take it as a gift. The next day, Daisen sent Soman a valuable vase as a thank you for the painting,
Ah, the exchange.
with a note hinting that a tea ceremony adherent, perhaps the merchant who held Soman's debt note, would greatly desire it and might exchange it for the note.
Very subtle suggestion.
Soman understood, took the vase to the merchant, and easily exchanged it for his debt, even being offered more money. Daisen, appearing to simply give a gift, subtly rescued his friend.
That's elegant. He helps without making the friend feel obligated or ashamed.
Right.
This raises an important question for us. How can you help others, or even subtly get what you want, without imposing an obligation or appearing self-serving?
Tricky balance.
In this instance, Daisen ingeniously made himself the cat's paw, in a way. He lost the valuable vase, but in doing so he gained something far more precious. The power of the courtier. And a deepened, unburdened relationship with his friend. A favor done indirectly and with elegance has 10 times more power, stirring up no resentment or sense of obligation in the recipient. It's about achieving your goal through a clever, almost invisible exchange.
Other historical figures have used similar indirect actions to achieve their ends, right? like Zhuge Liang.
The arrows. Yeah.
The legendary Chinese military strategist Zhuge Liang falsely accused and ordered to produce 100,000 arrows in 3 days or die.
An impossible task.
Seemingly,
Yeah.
he lashed straw bundles to boats, floated them towards the enemy camp under the cover of mist, and baited the enemy into showering them with arrows.
So the enemy gave him the arrows.
Collected his quota without lifting a finger. Brilliant cat's paw move using the enemy itself.
That's turning the tables completely.
And the infamous American con artist, Yellow Kid Weil, he never approached wealthy targets directly, did he?
No, always used an intermediary.
He would use an unsuspecting associate, a cat's paw, to hook the rich mark, ensuring the target wouldn't suspect a trap from a trusted subordinate.
Makes the con seem more legitimate.
Even the pioneering American psychiatrist, Dr. Milton H. Erickson, famed for his indirect therapeutic approaches.
Oh, his methods were fascinating.
When a wife wanted therapy but her resistant husband refused, Erickson would subtly interject interpretations of the husband's behavior to the wife, knowing she would relay them.
Planting seeds.
The husband, eventually furious at these interpretations, would then insist on joining sessions to set the doctor straight, thus entering therapy of his own accord.
Pulled in by reacting. Genius.
And finally, there's the sophisticated ruse of the perfect courtier, where you deliberately offer yourself as the cat's paw.
Like Sir Walter Raleigh.
Think of the iconic story of Sir Walter Raleigh laying his cloak for Queen Elizabeth to step over a puddle. Protecting a master or a peer from unpleasantness or danger, or even slight inconvenience, earns immense long-term respect and dividends.
But subtly is key.
The key is that it must be done subtly and graciously, never boastfully, as if it were a natural, instinctive act of loyalty.
Right. Don't draw attention to your sacrifice.
But, as with all power dynamics, using scapegoats and cat's paws is a delicate dance. It's not foolproof.
Things can go wrong. Badly wrong.
What happens if the screen is lifted and you are seen as the true manipulator, the puppet master? The consequences can be devastating.
When the mask slips.
This brings us to the tragic downfall of Queen Catherine de' Medicis.
Yes. St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre.
The lead up to it. In 1572, she plotted to assassinate Gaspard de Coligny, a leading Huguenot, fearing his growing influence on her son, King Charles IX.
Political maneuvering.
She arranged for a member of the powerful Guise family, their rivals, to carry out the assassination, hoping the Huguenots would blame the Guises.
Killing two birds with one stone, she hoped.
Thus eliminating two rivals at once. But she made a crucial, almost unthinkable mistake. The assassin only wounded Coligny, didn't kill him.
Oh, the plan failed at the crucial moment.
Big time. Coligny, knowing Catherine was his enemy, immediately suspected her and informed the king. This failed assassination and the explosive arguments that followed snowballed catastrophically.
The cover was blown.
It quickly devolved into a bloody civil war between Catholics and Protestants, culminating in the horrifying massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, where thousands of Protestants were brutally killed.
A direct consequence of the failed manipulation.
Right.
This incident powerfully underscores a vital lesson. When your actions are of great consequence, especially when manipulating others, too much can go wrong.
The stakes are too high.
Catherine's miscalculation, the failure of her cat's paw to complete the task, led to an immediate exposure of her hidden hand. The moment the veil of plausible deniability was lifted, the entire plan unraveled.
Chaos ensued.
It often proves far safer to employ these dupes in more innocent endeavors, where mistakes or miscalculations will not cause such serious, widespread harm or catastrophic blowback.
Lower stakes, lower risk.
The exposure of manipulation, particularly at high stakes, can lead to events spiraling completely beyond your control. It wasn't just that it had wrong, but how the exposure directly fueled the chaos.
That makes perfect sense. So, are there ever exceptions to Law 26? I mean, when might it actually be advantageous to take the blame or appear as the direct agent of punishment? Get your hands dirty on purpose.
That's a powerful card, but one to play very, very sparingly.
Okay.
Taking blame can indeed show strength if you already possess immense power. It might demonstrate a willingness to sacrifice for the good of the people or to protect your subordinates. Seems noble, perhaps?
Like falling on your sword.
In a way. Similarly, appearing as the punisher can instill a potent, immediate fear in your subordinates, showing your mighty hand as a direct, threatening gesture. Don't mess with me.
So that's an example.
But this is a double-edged sword. If you play it too often, fear quickly turns into resentment and hatred, which, as history shows, can ultimately bring even the most powerful down.
People don't like living in constant fear or resentment.
Exactly. So a critical question emerges. When is a momentary calculated display of vulnerability or ruthlessness a sign of strength? And when is it a fatal flaw that reveals too much of your hand?
Fine line to walk.
Ultimately, getting into the habit of consistently using a cat's paw is the far safer, more sustainable path to maintaining power without sullying your own hands, generally speaking.
So, to synthesize the key insights from this deep dive into Law 26, keep your hands clean. Power, as we've seen, often hinges on the masterful management of appearances.
It's perception, a lot of the time.
It's about the strategic deployment of others, whether to deflect blame or to perform necessary, even unpleasant tasks, all while you, the master, remain spotless, or try to.
And for you, the listener, understanding these timeless historical dynamics and psychological underpinnings can provide a true shortcut to being well-informed.
How so?
Well, it allows you to quickly spot and interpret similar patterns in the news, in business negotiations, or even, in personal interactions.
Ah, so you see the mechanics behind the scenes.
Exactly. It's about seeing beyond the immediate event and recognizing the hidden levers of power at play. Who's really pulling the strings? Who's taking the fall? Who's the cat's paw?
Right. So, as you go about your day, I want you to consider this. What situations have you observed in your own life, or maybe in the wider world, where someone expertly kept their hands clean?
Or maybe where they failed.
Or perhaps where they revealed their hand too soon and suffered the consequences? How might understanding these dynamics change how you approach challenges or interpret events around you?
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.